What you doing picking in them people's window?
We welcome you into the For the Record Experience Philadelphia version. This is Brian Westbrook, Krystle Rich, Geoff Mosher, I'm Eytan Shander. Sports, music, life, will cover everything from a Philadelphia perspective. And of course, that means that we have to start with the season officially coming to an end. Now,
it's not an end yet.
Wait. Am I the only one that believes this?
It's close to an end. It's close to an end.
I'm with you. It feels like it. I mean, who do we have next? The Rams?
I thought this was going to be like a last rites edition where we were just going to throw things into the casket and remember what the season was about.
It's the end, the end.
Well,
it's the end.
The fat lady sings end, but it feels like the end, though. That's the thing. It might not be the end, but it felt like it.
Okay, I'll go.
This game against Dallas was kind of the microcosm for all the frustrations that we've had all year. And even if they come out and pull something out of their you-know-what, come on. This is not a good football team this year.
The team is terrible. They've played terrible from the beginning to the end. They just haven't gotten better. And it's unfortunate because you see a lot of the same things every single week. 2 weeks ago, the same problems that happened this week. And most importantly, their Superman Carson Wentz has not played that way. And that's the biggest downfall of this football team.
Carson Wentz, it's been amazing how people, and it's not everybody, but there's been like this tiptoe around. And not enough people, I think, have started the season because of the injury and because we wanted to see. But now it's almost like it's come on full where everybody's taking out a lot of their frustration on Carson.
See, this is the thing, though. Yes, he deserves a lot of the scrutiny. He deserves some of the blame. But people are putting this on the table as, is this going to be the biggest game of his career? Absolutely not. First of all, he hasn't even had a full year under his belt since the injury, and we all know it could take a full season just to mentally come back from something like that. He did not have time in the offseason to prepare. Yes, it was a terrible game. Yes, he's not making the throws that he made last season leading up to the Super Bowl. So I understand that point, but let's talk about this game specifically. It was a terrible game, right?
Yes, terrible.
You can see he's ready to go.
He's ready to go off. He's ready to go off. But let me just tell you, like one of the biggest game changers, the refs.
Yes.
First of all, just to open the game, how do you not see that the Eagles recovered that ball surrounded by Eagles players? And we come up with it, and somehow they said that we did it. The Goddard touchdown.
Yeah.
Even if they gave us all the calls after that, it would not have made up for that 75-yard catch and run touchdown.
Are they vision tested?
I don't know
they're
what
tested
they
on
go
every
through.
single category you could possibly test. They're in phenomenal shape, better shape than I am, and half those guys are twice my age. But are they vision tested?
Yeah, they send it up to New York. They send it up to New York.
Well, are those people vision tested?
Exactly.
I mean,
So you're expecting some New Yorkers to help Philadelphia out?
The problem with the whole replay deal is you send it to replay to get it 100% correct 100% of the time.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Right.
And when it comes back and everybody except for whoever is making the decision in New York gets it right, except for those guys, then you're like, all right, the system just is broken. It doesn't work. It should be flaw-proof.
I want to meet these
Unfortunately,
people in New York.
it isn't.
What do they look like?
It's the same people that are
They better
handling the
not have
PR.
guys
Their mom's
jerseys
basements.
on.
They just examine videotape all day long.
But I'll say this. That wasn't the reason why this team is losing. That's not the reason why this team has been bad. This team.
It's the quarterback.
Well, you started with the quarterback, and to me, you were going down the right road. The big thing is the quarterback is not the same guy as he was last year. He's just not.
Right.
And I
wanna
think
know why?
There's a lot of different reasons why.
That marriage would lock you up.
Marriage will slow you
Hey,
down.
it's not her fault.
taking away the merits
No,
of
I
bliss.
bet. Listen, whatever she does, I bet you it sacrificed something in her world as well. Right?
Forget the injury.
I'm
I
just
think
saying.
there is a little bit of truth, and not as far as your commitment to. When you're married, you have to do so many other things
It's a different
other than just
world.
working on your game. So
It's a
there's a little bit
Krystle,
different.
hold on.
That's not the reason. That's not the reason. That's part of it.
If you were to make a pie chart, I would say 49% of it is the institution of marriage,
You're out of
and
your mind.
51% of it is the fact that he's just not healthy.
Does this have anything to do with you
Forget
being
about
an
the
unmarried
O-line.
man?
The O-line.
some of the
Forget
worst
about the
reason I've
O-line.
ever heard before in
Forget
my
about
life.
the injury. You're going straight to marriage. Now, Carson
He's a
Wentz is a
changed
smart
human
dude.
being. Oh, no, he's brilliant.
He's not going to marry someone who takes up all of his time, knowing that he is the franchise quarterback of a huge team in the #4 market in our country.
Well, you said the reason why he's not playing well. He didn't have a chance. It's not because he's married. You're out of your mind.
All I would say to your point is that it's actually how much the two of them are so dedicated to their commitment that's taking away from their respective worlds.
No,
Are you in their bedroom?
that may help him.
I'm sure they're committed in the bedroom, all right?
That may help him be a better
there.
player. That's just wrong.
Right.
The reason why he's not, I mean, you mentioned it, he's not playing well because he was trying to get healthy this offseason and not working on this game.
Yeah.
I mean, as simple as that. His timing is off, his fundamentals are off. But if I'm Doug Peterson and I'm seeing my guy act like this, play the way that he's played, you got to change things. You gave Josh Adams, your running back, 7 carries in a game where you were down by at the most, 9 points?
Yeah.
You're in the game the entire game. It just doesn't make sense.
Right.
Can I just
Doug Peterson has to be better than
tell
that.
you guys an amazing stat that Josh Adams had 24 yards on his 3rd carry.
Yeah.
And he did not get his 4th carry until 27 minutes and 1 second later.
But it was
That's almost a half of a football game.
It was a close
absolutely.
game.
Right. So why in a close game, after 2 weeks of having a somewhat balanced offense,
Right.
would you then act like you were down by 3 touchdowns and just pass the ball?
Those were lessons that were unlearned because in our 2 wins against the Redskins and against the Giants, he had 22 carries and 20 carries. Before that, in our 2 losses, he had 7 each. So that should have been something that we learned and brought into this matchup against our arch nemesis, the Cowboys.
Right.
But we didn't lose this game in the 4th. We lost this in the 1st and 2nd when nothing was happening offensively. In the 2nd quarter, 2 back-to-back 3-and-outs.
That's been the story all year in the first half. I think they've been 3 games they haven't even scored a touchdown in the first quarter. This is ridiculous. There's a couple of misnomers that I wanted to address. First is what you got on with the running game.
Oh, wait, can we go back to the marriage thing? Because that might be the first one we should address.
I'm stand by that.
No, because I kind of want to go to my
All the way
wife today
wrong.
now and say, listen, the reason why I'm not the best that I could be is because I'm married, and see what that gets me.
I'm giving you the blueprint.
Okay.
I'm showing you how to do this. All right.
It's your fault, hon.
I'm just no. I'm not saying blame her. See, you haven't listened.
You're
to
just
anything
saying
I
blame
said.
the institution.
I'm saying the fact that everybody is so committed to that, it might take away from your personal day to day. That's
Okay.
my point.
All right.
The thing about the run game, we'll get back
Tom
to that.
Brady
I'm sure.
has been very successful and has been married for a long time.
But let's just
She's more successful than him, and her modeling career has taken a hit.
I disagree with you,
Not
but
that
let
she's
me
getting
tell you
older every year. Are you out of
where
your
I
mind?
could agree. Even though, let me make it clear.
Well, not on marriage,
I
right?
on marriage.
Oh.
I disagree, but let me tell you
I
where
was
I could
actually
agree.
gonna bring up two serious
It takes
points.
a certain type of woman or man to understand that your significant other has to grind. So if you have someone who just craves attention 24/7, that's where it will be your downfall.
And
She's
I'm-
probably the type of
I'm
person
not-
that's going to help him and push him, I'm sure.
Okay.
We don't even know. I don't
Probably
know.
more than
Enough
Press
your
Taylor
serious
is.
points.
Okay, here's what I would say, though. I even forgot what the second point was. The first was about the running game.
Right.
And, oh, no, I know what the second one is because it falls in the same vein. And I think it's the difference of execution on the field versus coaching. And I'll give you the 2 things. You mentioned the running game and how they had established Adams for 2 straight games. If you look back throughout the season, you've had a running back in most of these games, if not all of these games, where they've had something successful going, but they've been neglected. Golden Tate is the second point I'm going to make. I don't fault Howie Roseman. People, Howie Roseman, terrible trade. What about the people that were given a car, a fast car to drive, and instead are driving 45 with their hazards on in the right lane?
You leave my grandmother out of this.
Hey, I'm just saying. At some point, you're going to have to flash grandmom and say, get off the road. You know, go on the back roads. If you can't drive in the right lane, then maybe the highway's not for you. They have totally mishandled the run game, the coaching staff, and they've totally mishandled Golden Tate.
I agree with you, and that comes back to how we first executed using him in the first game that we got him. He was doing more returns than anything. And then you look at Amari Cooper when he first went to Dallas, he was their number 1 receiver, and that's how we should have been using Tate from the get-go. He just got his first touchdown the previous game, so he's just starting to build his chemistry with Amari Cooper. As soon as they got him, they used him for the purpose in which they got him for, and we have not did that with Golden Tate since the day he came here in
He
Philly.
actually played
Came
20
on a bye
snaps
week.
in that game against the Cowboys. I was mind blown. 20 snaps.
you know
You
the
gave up a
problem-
3rd-round pick to play this guy.
Well, he only had
20
55,
snaps.
right?
Yeah, but that's only still like one half, or not even a half of the game.
Off
The
a bye
problem with
week.
Golden Tate is that him and Zach Ertz occupy similar spaces. That's the problem. They're in the similar areas, and you're trying to focus more attention on getting the ball to Zach Ertz than Golden Tate. If you look at the offenses that he's been very successful in, he's in the slot, working the slot. There's no tight end existent. It's the guys on the outside. He's working the middle of the field. That's where Zach Ertz operates, in the middle of the field. That's the biggest problem with Golden Tate right there. That's why he doesn't get any balls. That's because if you would switch him in and out, now Zach Ertz is outside, Golden Tate is inside, they can work the middle a lot more with Golden Tate. But all the catches that you see from Zach Ertz, that's Golden Tate's area.
They need to overhaul that in the offseason. They can't keep Nelson, and they can't keep Golden Tate. Now, if you gave up a third-round pick for Golden Tate, I would like to see him stay. If it means Nelson has to go, I think Nelson's been a good player. I think he's been a victim of a lot of their offensive dysfunction this year. But you can't have both of them on the field.
For this team next year, let's leave this year where it's at. For this team next year, do they have to tear this thing all the way down?
They're going
and
to.
then draft well?
Well, they have to, but not because what you're saying.
Well, if
they don't have to because it didn't work. They have to because they've got old players and they've got players who are about to become very expensive. Like and they're already $13 million over next year's cap.
If that's the situation, do you bring Golden Tate back at that point, though?
I'll bring Golden Tate back, but then I can't bring back Nelson. I'll trade him because he has a fifth-year option, right? So they already picked it up. It's not guaranteed, though. They can cut him, but I would try to trade him.
This goes back to my big picture problem, though. And I'm not going to put words in your mouth, so stop me, but part of this conversation is based off this assumption that the coaching staff can't figure it out. And I think that's more an indictment on the staff. Like, I look at this and think the coaching staff, the offensive coordinator, Doug Peterson, clearly there's a difference from last year. But the point you raised about Golden Tate occupying the same space, the point you raised about moving on from one or the other, and it might come down from an economic standpoint, but how is this not on the coaching staff of their inability to fit? This is not a Tetris puzzle. It's not coming down like level 50 where, it's super fast.
Well, what do you want to blame the coaching staff for? Because it's like saying, like, if I had two Jerome Bettis running backs, right, and I'm not throwing screen passes, and you say, well, why? Figure it out, throw a screen. I'm like, you can't throw a screen to two Jerome Bettis running backs. They're big fat guys. You know what I'm saying is they had brought Mike Wallace in. They had Torrey Smith last year. They do not have a speed threat. They don't have anybody backing those safeties up. And a Golden Tate and a Nelson Aguilar ain't going to do it. So that's not Doug's fault. It's not Grove's fault. It's not anybody's fault, right? That's what they've got. They've tried to work with what they got, but you mentioned what Brian said about, and you said, and Krystle, about Carson Wentz not being himself. All the injuries they had to Ajayi, to Wallace, to Mac Hollins. I'm not saying they've been perfect. Neglecting the run game has been terrible. I schematically don't see how what they're putting on the football field enables them to stretch the field like they once did.
I would say give it a shot. I mean, why not? Why not put people in that position where they can at least try to stretch the field? Golden Tate doesn't have to run a 4-1 flat.
No, but I think they have occasional. I mean, Carson's missed some people downfield.
Well, yeah, okay, but that goes back to the bigger issue. It's a trickle down, is it not? Where if Carson's not making these throws or not reading these throws, then you're going to get frustration from the coaching staff, and then you might just say, all right, we'll abort what could be an example or some sort of test.
Carson has a lot of different things going on. His mechanics are bad, fundamentals, footwork, everything.
Marriage.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
Should have led with that one.
I was never going to say that. But, I mean, he has a lot of bad things going on. And timing is probably the biggest one. Yeah. There's a lot of receivers open, 3 steps, open, wide open. Carson's not ready to deliver the football. I mean, to play quarterback in the NFL, to be successful, Drew Brees type, you have to anticipate the throw. You have to be able to throw to a spot way before your guy gets there. Right now, Carson wants to see it. And because he can't see it, he's getting off Alshon 2 steps before he's flying down the field, scot-free, nobody even around him. He's getting off of Aguilar running a quick slant because he's having trouble at the line. That's why he's much more willing and comfortable sticking with Zach Ertz over time. Zach just has done a great job versus man, versus zone of getting open. I mean, it's been pretty cool to watch if you watch the film, the way he uses his body to shield off a defender to come back to the ball. A lot of these other guys, Carson has not shown the same type of patience.
And you're talking about, originally you're talking about coaching, right? So I'm kind of on the fence about it because people blame even the loss of DeFilippo for us not being as good this year. Now, Doug Peterson, he deserves some blame because he's not really catering to where Carson is today. I think he's catering to where Carson was early last year.
Right.
But he has to even realize that Carson is still, I don't want to say recovering from injury, but he's coming back after sitting out all last postseason.
He's a work in progress.
All off season. So he needs to do a better job at catering to him, which is, like we said, not abandoning the run. But you can't put the whole pie just on Doug Peterson.
Not the whole pie, but
at a certain point, these players,
big piece of it.
I give you about like 49%.
Okay.
49. That's a lot.
I think
That's a lot. All right, listen, we got a lot to get into.
It's like a good marriage, 51-49.
Yeah, right, exactly right. It's going to be a busy one. I'll save you my dating analogy, for the reason why Carson Wentz is staying on Zach Ertz all year for the next show, all right?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
We've got a bunch of stuff to get into. Allen Iverson was the latest to drop his cliche top 5 MCs of all time. Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler, maybe not, getting into some things. And, of course, you're never safe on Twitter. But what we'll do is each and every time that we'll go from segment to segment, we've got a little stack of cards that asks a question. And it's mainly to the 4 of us to try to get an idea so people can get to know us a little better. Now, Krystle, you didn't trust me ahead of time.
I had to shuffle these cards because I didn't trust you.
A professional shuffle.
Right.
Yeah,
you did look like you knew what you were doing.
I shuffled the cards, played Tunk back in the day. That's an old school game. I don't know if y'all know about that.
Oh, I know about that.
You know about Tunk?
Of course.
I had to give you the old Tunk shuffle because I didn't trust
Krystle
you.
used to work at the casinos, too.
Right.
So that's part of it as
I
well.
felt like you had a card that you really wanted us to pick.
No. I was just trying to, go through them and all. All right, so none of us have seen this. This is the card here, all right? And I'm going to read it. Which player would make the best adult video with the players on both sides of them?
Wait, what?
Yeah, we should probably change that one.
Where are these cards coming from?
That question?
No.
I think I would be in trouble.
Who would manage to drown in 4 feet of water?
Who would manage to drown in 4 feet of water out of us 4, right?
Out of us four. Right. Now, there would probably be some sort of reasoning why, right? Now, it wouldn't just be you're walking into a pool of 4 feet of water and then you just drown.
Right. It would be more likely that someone is holding you underwater to try to kill you. And
I don't even think
after your comments in the first segment, it's probably going to be
probably
you.
Will.
Wait, why do you
I can think a million women lining up now who want to submerge you in water blaming Carson Wentz's marriage.
I was giving women the out right there. I was providing the blueprint to say, listen, hun, my career is struggling. This ain't it.
You're never going to get married with that attitude. I can tell you that.
So is Eytan like our unanimous?
No,
pick
I have my answer is Moshe. I think that Geoff probably would drown first. I mean, he's neat. He's put together. He just doesn't look like a swimmer. Doesn't look like a guy that's going to be floating or swimming.
Not only am I,
I don't think anybody's going to be holding you down. You just don't.
Right.
Not
killing him.
Swimmer,
yeah.
But I'll tell you why you're wrong. You know how everybody has some kind of freaking nature abilities that other people, like Michael Jordan can jump.
Yeah.
I could hold my breath for a really long time.
See? Someone that's tried to kill him before. That's the right point.
Close to 2 minutes before.
Are you serious?
Why?
Yes.
Well, why were you doing this?
I don't know how I developed this.
When was this?
We got Aquaman.
When I was a
over
kid,
here.
I noticed that, everybody likes to swim underwater, that other people are coming up for air and I'm just like chilling at the bottom of the pool. So I would then start to test myself.
Right.
And I almost made it to 2 minutes once.
See?
We should
my
test.
pick is Eytan because when we were practicing a couple, talking about the podcast, you told us a couple stories about some crazy girlfriends. So if it's not like you're drowning because you can't swim, I feel like it might be woman-induced. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know the whole story.
You think that little of me already, huh?
I'm just saying. These were good stories.
Oh, I'm going to tell you guys this. I don't know if you know this. I probably shared it with you. I've seen Krystle swim before.
Oh.
It was on Twitter.
Real quick, does Krystle know you? Okay, so
I've been watching Krystle swim for years.
I was looking like, wait.
if there's a stalker question in here, I think we know.
I love it.
So I
Disregard,
was
right?
I was a Twitter anchor for Good Day Sacramento. It's probably
Right.
what you saw. And I had to race teenage swimmers, like they're actual swimmers. And I grew up, I had a pool in my backyard, swimming all the time, but I never swam competitively. So I not even warmed up. I just jumped in the pool. And this is live on television. This is not practice. I didn't warm up. And I go, and they smoke me. They smoked me, but it was good TV. And
She got out the pool and went right back to interview mode.
Yeah, is that right? Grab the mic.
Out of breath, but
By the time she got there, all the kids that she raced they were dressed and they dried off. They were dressed. They're halfway home.
But I tried. My mom said it was important that I try. So
That's
I tried.
all
There you go.
That's all
Okay,
that
that's right. That's what's up.
So I'm not your pick.
Yeah, no.
No, Mosher, but I think
Still me.
that's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
Who's your pick?
I guess it would be. I like your reasoning. There probably would be somebody that would come back and get
yourself,
me.
right? Of course.
I got to sleep with an eye open now. Walk around.
So you are your own pick.
There's no safe body of water. I'll concede to the majority
It makes sense,
here.
though. At least it makes sense.
I was trying to find a way that I could bring Brian into this and be like, nah,
Nobody wants to drown me.
Yeah, but well, I don't know why he went to drowning the first. Like there are other ways in which you could. All right, we'll put that aside. But that's kind of not the first question. The second question. I don't know where the hell that one came. See, I definitely,
can't even answer
if
that
I were
first.
cheating,
Yeah.
then that would have
That wouldn't
definitely
have been
not
there.
in there.
Right.
See, that's what happens with a
I'm
natural
glad I
shuffle.
shuffled it, though.
All right, before we get to Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid and what's going on with the Sixers, positive or negative, I don't know at what point, are we ever going to be past this point on this planet? Like, what's going to happen first? The planet just implodes, or people stop giving their top 5 lists of MCs?
Oh no, it's never gonna stop.
No?
No, never.
Well, I don't know. What are they going to do in 50 years when there are no good MCs anymore, and people hadn't heard of the actual good ones? So
There's always going to be somebody coming out that's going to be compared to somebody 10 years ago, that's going to be compared to 20 years ago, that's going to be compared. Well,
You mean they're mumble rappers?
and then there's going to be somebody
said it.
in the old age home that's going to barely be able to cough out. You don't know what it was like with Notorious
Back in the day,
B.I.G.
right.
You don't. And then somebody who can't even talk is just because the technology will be there, is blinking. Man, you don't know about KRS-One. So it's not going to die. Like, this is always going to be here. There's always going to be this conversation. AI was the latest, and I don't know how you want to go with it. If you want to give your top 5, if you want to rip AI's top 5.
Top 5. Let's do top 5.
Okay.
Ladies first. Is that okay?
Of course.
All right. So before we even start, I have to do my honorable mentions. All right. So guys,
Wait. I thought it was top 5.
It is.
If
No.
you give honorable mentions, that means
this is the thing.
This is
you're not sure about your top
No,
5.
no.
I'm anti-honorable mentions.
I am sure of my top 5, but for other people's sake, they're like, oh, how come you didn't put this person in there? You have to give some honorable mentions.
No, that.
All right, fine.
Okay.
Forget my honorable mentions then.
Way
No,
to
the
stand your
only
ground.
one who has a clear number.
Well,
You folded quick.
the
The
TV mind is working for
Right,
brother.
right,
That's
right.
why.
The only one who has a clear number at number 1 is Jay-Z. Anyone else, it doesn't matter the order. And I'll get into that later. Jay-Z, Biggie, Pac, Nas, Black Thought.
Is that your order?
No, the only person that's a clear number 1 is Jay-Z. Everyone else, you can kind of scramble the order. I'd say keep Black 5 at number 5, though. You can mix Nas, Biggie, and Pac.
And you don't have any argument. You won't hear any argument at all for Nas being above Jay-Z.
No.
I put the argument.
No,
for
okay,
Black Thought
this
above
is
Jay-Z.
my argument for Jay-Z, okay? He has grown up on tracks. He went from never big pimpin', never gonna settle down, to someone who can really do it for the culture and rap politically.
You know who's been doing that for the last 25 years?
Who?
Nas.
Listen, but he's not on the platform.
But hold on a second, real quick. I'll let
ahead,
you go
go
because
ahead.
this is your top 5, I promise. And I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking more to like what happened this past year. But it's taken a lot of people in this game to get 10, 15 years to that point you were saying, where Nas was there from day one. So that's what speaks to me about Nas. I'm sorry.
The reason why
He might-
Nas can't be number 1 is because he doesn't have the presence. That's why.
Well,
that's
and
why
that's,
he-
and that's what I'm
talking about?
saying.
Are we
And
talking
that's-
about sales?
and
Are
this
we
is
talking
the-
about shows?
No. And that's the only reason why I'm
whole
putting
picture.
Jay-Z at number 1, because if Big and Pac were still alive, they could 100% take that number 1 spot, but they didn't have the opportunity to grow on the track like Jay has. I mean, just on the feature on Meek Mill's What's Free alone, Jay went off. They gave him that last part of the song for a reason. He went off. And he, like I said, he grew up from, a silly little knucklehead on the streets to someone who can rap about injustice in our country and in the world. And it make a lot of sense. He's number 1. He had more opportunity to be number 1 because, like I said, other guys didn't, number 1, live that long to get that opportunity to do that, but he's doing it for the culture. And people throw out this term like, I'm doing it for the culture, when they're just talking about mumble rap. No, doing it for the culture is doing something positive. And when you're rapping politically, that's doing it for the culture. And that's exactly why Black Thought is my number 5.
Well, shouldn't he be higher up if that's your criteria for Jay being number 1?
No, because he can't be above.
That's not as
he can't-
important,
He
though.
can't be
Well, what is
above.
as
He can't be
important,
above Biggie and Pac though,
Krystle
or
Rich.
Nas. He just can't. He does it, and you might call me a homer because he's from Philly, but number 5, without a doubt.
No, I don't think you're giving him enough respect for Philly. I would put him
It's-
above Jay in a heartbeat.
Whoa,
He's a better lyricist.
that's even saying a lot,
He's
but
just
he's
more
so
genuine with
underrated.
He
everything.
doesn't have the same impact, though, as Jay. Not even
But
close.
What are we talking
that's
impact,
what
though? Let's
like
define
impact is
impact.
like to me
That's-
what does that mean?
Well,
So we're talking sales.
Like record sales?
obviously sales,
Right.
but when you talk about Jay-Z, he's relevant and affects the culture in ways that Black Thought doesn't.
Right. He's not going to
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but not because of his lyrics, more because of his way of selling himself.
But that's part of the whole thing.
Like saying McDonald's is better than a really good 5-star restaurant because they're more omnipresent. You know, like,
but
hey, everybody goes to McDonald's.
That's the sad truth, though. It's like
it's not for me.
I think less
your
people.
List, I would say, let your list should be shaped on who you like listening to the most and who you think is the best at the craft, and the craft is lyrics and beats and flow, not.
Not everybody feels that that's how they make their list.
But still Jay-Z.
Well, that's the point, though. Is that there's no.
But that's the good thing.
There's no universal set for criteria.
Right.
I'm giving y'all my honorable mentions. Forget y'all. My honorable mentions are Andre 3000 and Lauryn Hill. Because when we talk about MCs, we only talk about rappers. We need to mention this girl because if she would have put another album out or two, come on, man, she probably could have beat your favorite rapper.
Why do we gotta talk about what she could have done?
My favorite rapper's Ghostface. Ain't nobody beating him. Wow. Come on.
Stop.
Ain't nobody.
All right, someone else go.
Don't let me break the purple tape out next week, man. All right? I still got that cassette.
I don't want you to break it.
All right? We'll put that as the backdrop the whole time, man.
At this point, the only thing I ever care about is Brian's because
my list is
in our behind-the-scenes conversation.
Your list is going to be so
whack,
man.
Every single person we brought
so
up.
Whack.
Where I'm like, who is he pulling out?
Now,
right, so
I know this from.
You guys are unappreciative.
The whole Kyler Murray thing that we're going to get to with Kevin Hart tweets as well. I saw somebody retweeted an old tweet of yours that you were saying like Jay-Z's the best rapper ever. So I know
that doesn't sound like something I would say, but
I know you're going to start with like that's my gut. Based off what, unless you're going to go all Kyler and others and be like, hey, you know, I tweeted some stuff back in the day that I'm not proud of. Jay-Z was the best rapper of all time. You know, I don't know.
I
feel like because you like go-go.
I do.
For those who don't know what go-go is, it's a very
Baltimore go-go rapper on here.
I'm not going to
go
there.
Only people from the Baltimore, D.C. area go, but like maybe Northern Virginia, maybe he's a Pusha guy.
Oh, Pusha T.
No,
you're not?
I have no.
He's the only guy to beat Drake.
That's way too recent for me.
Pusha's too recent.
So here's my list.
Pusha's too recent.
This guy's 10 years younger than me, and he's saying too recent.
What y'all talking about?
X-Clan on this list?
Y'all don't want me to share my list.
All right, I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
And your list is kind of close to mine, so you maybe you've been reading my notes. All right, Jay-Z #1.
Okay.
And I've got reasons here.
Agreed.
This is good. Most consistent, most relevant, witty, has the best flow. Nas, same type of thing.
Best flow?
Yes, thanks for your input. Biggie, we know that. Jadakiss, no one, not on your list, should be on your list.
He's on mine.
Interesting.
Kendrick Lamar. Last, this is #6, honorable mention for people like Krystle, is Black Thought. Perfect list.
Oh, okay. So you didn't put Pac on that list,
What's the opposite
No,
of like?
I don't put Pac.
What's the opposite of recency bias?
Whoa.
What would be the opposite of it?
Ageism. Like
so I have ageism bias against Kendrick because I think he's brilliant.
Yeah.
But I can't get with like the modern flow in the voice.
Is that your fault
see,
or his fault?
No, I'm telling you, it's my fault. I'm telling you,
we're talking about
my God, I'm
subjective
throwing
stuff,
myself
man.
on the sword here, and you're trying to take the sword
you or
and stab
him?
me
Like
anyway. I'm trying to say I got this bad bias that I got to overcome.
Brian's like, what's wrong with you?
And
You don't like this
he wants to drown me
Something's
in 4
wrong
feet
with
of
you.
water.
Right. All right, let's hear the list. Let's go.
No, go ahead for you first.
No.
Mine's boring. All right, so I don't have like a 1 to 5 because I could wake up every day and it'll just 5. And it's Nas, it's Big, it's Pun, it's Big L, and it's Mos Def.
You left off Jay-Z. You left off
Jay-Z
out of
Biggie.
your
top
mind.
10, but not top 5.
Big
you
Pun,
left
no,
off
really?
Biggie?
That's on your list?
You sound like a man who may have listened to 2 Big Pun songs in there.
Wait, you
That's
left off
probably
Biggie,
all
though.
I could stand for.
Well, that's
Big
your
Pun?
fault. Yes, Big Pun is a
Biggie.
tremendous lyricist, an amazing rapper.
All right.
Does length of career matter to you at all?
Well,
No,
Gail,
I
look
put
at
Big
Gail
L in
Sayers.
mine, so clearly not.
Gail Sayers. Right? Big Pun's
6
the
years,
Gail
okay.
Sayers, you know?
I mean,
That's interesting.
the briefest career ever, so that's Big L.
You sound like a man who
I have
listened to
never
any Big
listened
L.
to him.
Thank you. He said it.
Have you listened to him?
No.
I have no clue who he is. But that's my point.
Where's Rob?
That's my point, though.
Yeah, that is a valid point.
Are you familiar with this? Like, are you friends with this man?
I'm trying to tell you, if you're talking about the best ever and someone that lives here, that's in the culture, doesn't even know who the guy is he really the best
Dude,
ever?
he did it. Go ask Jay-Z, your favorite rapper, about Big L.
How long ago was this? How long ago was this?
Well, he died in what?
Long time
He
ago.
got
99.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, Eytan.
He's a legend for a reason, my friend. I didn't just pull him out of
I don't know that he's a legend. I'm just saying I haven't heard of him. That's all.
Are you on your own list,
I'm
Eytan?
disappointed.
This is,
you
your
shouldn't.
credibility is now shot.
You shouldn't be. I have way more worse things.
This is why we got to stop doing these lists, man.
Are you in your own top 5?
Let's go.
All right, my top 5, Nas is #1 for me all time. And then it doesn't really go as far as like order. It's just kind of a feel for the day. So in no particular order, I'll throw Ghost, Kiss, Black Thought, and 5 is up and down for me a lot.
It hurt me to leave Black Thought out of my top 5.
No, but I mean,
he'd probably be my 6.
Here's the thing. Like, I personally think Big is better than Jay. However, there are some old, and maybe I get caught too much in being trapped, like in my time warp. You drive around with me, you're listening to 1999, 2000 rap all day. So I get caught in that too much, and I admit that I get caught in that too much. But Jay's first 2 pieces of work
were his best.
Were better than Big's, even though I think Big is a better storyteller, and I think Big is a better flow artist. And I think Big, listen, a lot of people.
Do you think Reasonable Doubt's better than Ready to Die? Because I could say Reasonable Doubt's better than Life After Death, but I don't know that it's better than Ready to Die.
I think it's better than Ready.
So if you had to pick for your 5th between Jay and Big.
I flip a coin and just say.
You got to pick, man. We gave you our top 5.
What are you talking about?
You can't do that.
I'll go Jay over Big.
All right. Well, he's
But
Nas
is the best. Nas is the best, and nobody's talking about Ghostface, and that hurts me. So
how do you think I feel about Big L?
We ignored you on that.
Big L is.
Wait, all right. So
does anybody know who Big L is except for you two? Thank you. No one said anything.
You have no idea.
Nobody knows.
Ignorant you sound right now.
I do.
You sound like an 18-year-old who's growing up on trap and has never heard any of the legends.
I'm gonna ask all my boys when I get off of here.
I want you to do me a favor. This is live to record, right? Okay. So we're not streaming live or anything like that. Right. I want you to send a text because we're going to get to a card, all right? Because we got through our thing. We're going to get to Jimmy and Joel right now. So as I get a card out here, I want you to send a text to 2 or 3 of your closest boys right now.
I will.
So that by the time we're done shooting.
Please make sure they're over 18.
Yes.
All of them.
Right?
And they're going to be like, what are you talking about?
Right now, these are not DC Go-Go folks that grew up at Dream, right?
This man's credibility is completely
Now, before you move on, Brian put Kendrick in his top 5. Now,
as he should be.
I think that my top 5 is pretty solid for years to come. However, I feel like there's this new age generation that if we had to pick our second tops, it would have to be Kendrick, it would have to be Cole, it would have to possibly maybe put Meek in there.
Kanye.
I would put Kanye before he went crazy. Before he went crazy.
Kanye is a genius producer.
And then I would even put Chance the Rapper in there. But number 1 and 2 for sure being Cole and
Joey
Kendrick.
Badass goes above them all.
And Fab. How are we going to forget about Fab?
Well, Fab's not new.
Yeah. He's not new, but he's
not new either.
Top 5, but he's not.
So you are not a Drake fan. I find that very interesting.
No, I do like Drake, but I don't think he can really freestyle battle someone. I feel like
I'm with you.
Cole
I'm not
could.
a
I feel like
fan,
Kendrick
but I'm surprised
could.
You're not.
I just feel like, but I don't want to forget about Fab either. He's just in the middle between the top 5 legendary and the new age. He's somewhere, not top 5 though.
All right, here we go. This is one that we can all answer. Of the 4 of us, who would climb Mount Everest?
Krystle definitely.
Yeah, I think
because Krystle probably wants to. She does.
I'm hearing about swimming.
Crazy
You're
stuff.
talking about balling last time.
She's climbed it 3 times already.
Yeah, you probably already done that. You on there Kilimanjaro.
I love myself too because I like to think I'm athletic. I've done crazy stuff on air. I've tried windsurfing live on air for the very first time. Windsurfing on a really windy day.
Professional.
I'll do crazy things live on TV.
Right.
So I would do it.
I would not.
Do it.
I mean, I'm out.
Yeah, you ain't got.
I don't have the lungs for it.
No. And you have to train to do those types of things.
You do.
I was talking to Chris Long about climbing Mount, Kilimanjaro?
I think, they were doing that for
He said you have to train for a couple months before you're I'm out.
How do you train?
You have to climb
that. You have to get your lungs prepared to handle that altitude.
You have to go to that room.
That's
you need the assistance of a Sherpa for? I'm out.
Right, I don't want help. Yeah.
I don't like to rely on other people. I just want to be able to do what I can do.
No.
I don't think I could climb a mountain in the Poconos, let alone Mount Everest.
Now, I don't have the desire. But
I'll
watch the video when Crystal comes back.
The live stream.
I have the desire about the 4 of us. I think I would do it.
Oh yeah, well I think
you'll make
pie
it work.
chart.
Yeah,
I'm
Crystal
too
gonna do
impatient. It takes a long time, right? You can't do it in like a day.
You just don't have the patience.
You make it through the road to Hana in Hawaii. I was like, I'm bored.
You don't have to train, man. That's the biggest problem of it. All right, Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid has come out liking tweets, being like, listen, there's no problem here. I can't imagine that there is a serious issue between Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid. I'll start right here. If I'm Joel Embiid, I'm frustrated because you're not playing as much, right? You sat the back-to-back, or that sat the other night last week. And also, it's not a bad thing. It's the reality of it, where if you're cruising and then somebody comes in and nothing is stopping from the team aspect, but you go from MVP numbers to maybe not as much MVP numbers, you might be frustrated. It doesn't mean you're frustrated at the reason why your numbers are dropping, like, oh, man, somebody's got to go, like, get Jimmy Butler out of here. It's like, all right, my numbers might be not the same as people talking about me like they were 2 weeks ago, which is Joel Embiid, the best player in the NBA, MVP. We're all vain to an extent, right? I don't need to pull a card out and say, who's the most vain. We all have vanity in us, right? You pointing at Brian or Krystle?
It would work either way.
Oh, just that couch?
either
way.
Couch.
See, I wasn't sure.
Why
did that happen?
Why did that just happen?
First of all, I know I'm a woman, but I care less about things that actual women care about. Like, I don't care really too much about designer purses, red bottom shoes.
She's sitting there in her Morocco.
Exactly. This is
a whole earrings.
The person makes the clothes. The clothes don't make the person. I got this abroad in Morocco. I didn't go to like some crazy.
This is real gold. This is real gold right here. This is.
Anyway, didn't appreciate that comment. Now you may continue.
But I was saying, as far as I get it. That's the human element of it. But this thing has been blown up. Like Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler have some sort of beef, and that Embiid is a little upset about the arrival of Butler. Come on, B. It's hard for me to think that.
I don't know that he's mad that Butler's here. I think that his game has to change to accommodate Jimmy Butler. And when you go from being that guy to be the second guy, and I think if this team is going to be successful, I think a lot of guys feel that way. Now, in order for this team to go to the next level, he can't be the guy. Because in the NBA, if your big man is averaging 28 points, which is a bunch of shots, you can't win. The league isn't built that way. It's not a big man league anymore. So this team is absolutely built wrong if they want to win long term with Joel Embiid being the highest scorer in the team. It's built wrong. The only way for this team to be successful is for Jimmy Butler to get 28 every game. And they're going to have to get another guard to get you 28 a game. And Joel Embiid will get you 18 off the board. And I'm talking about, I'm not running plays for you. Every now and then I'll run a play for you, but we're not running plays for you consistently down the court if this team wants to win.
You're going to take 10 points a night away from him?
Different league, absolutely. Because you know why? Because it's a three-point game. The league is totally different.
He can shoot threes.
It's not the same. It's not the same. You need a guard. You need to have two guards that can score and a third guy that can get you 15 to 20 every night.
I'm with you on you need to have two guards that can score. Very big on that. That's been my biggest criticism against Ben Simmons. However, going forward, you know what? First of all, I just love the honesty of Joel Embiid because once he sucks, he tells you in the post game saying that exact word, I sucked. So we shouldn't be surprised that he said to the media that he is disappointed in his role since Jimmy Butler has got here. All right, so you go back to the Toronto game, 5 of 17 shooting. He did not get to the foul line as much. He has not made a three-point shot since he's played the Wizards. Is that Jimmy Butler's fault that he hasn't been hitting from behind the arc? No, that's not Jimmy Butler's fault. Does he have to find a new role for himself, or does he have to fit into a new role? Absolutely, but so does the whole entire team. There's nothing wrong with growing pains for a certain amount of time as long as you grow from those pains. Now that it's vocal, now that it's out there, and Jimmy Butler, he called Joel Embiid the best player on this team. Now, this is a guy who's 29. Joel Embiid is much younger than that. So for him to even say that shows you that he has the heart to want to make it work with Joel Embiid.
Or he just knows how to say the right thing.
It could be a little bit of both. But I
think Jimmy's smart enough to say the right thing.
He wants to win.
Really?
I think he's smart enough.
But Jimmy Butler is the guy who will, you take it back to the Timberwolves.
Yeah, he just had a meltdown.
He will tell you whatever you want to know.
Karl Anthony Towns was not close to being on the same level as Joel Embiid.
Yeah, but that's I think what maybe you were saying, Krystle, which is if there was a problem, Jimmy Butler doesn't have a filter.
These are strictly growing pains. And when you go back to the offseason, the perimeter work is exactly what Joel Embiid was working on with Drew Hanlen all summer long, to make plays on the perimeter, to improve his shot on the perimeter, to not cower to the double team. Now he's complaining, saying he's being triple teamed. But honestly, if he's being triple teamed, that could open things up for a lot of other players, get that ball out to the open man, sinking a three. I mean,
the ball needs to come out faster from Embiid when he's getting doubled down low.
Right. There's exactly.
And that's something that Embiid can work on himself.
I get from this that Drew Hanlen is 0 for 2 in developing Sixers this past summer.
No. Joel Embiid can get you 30 a game, easy. This is not how this team can win. It's just not built that way. The NBA has nothing to do with big man. Look at every one of the good teams in the league. None of them have a big man. None of them have a big man averaging over 20 points a game.
Okay.
None of them have, because it's a different game now.
You might be right. Like Capella's a good big man on the Rockets. He's a good big man.
He's a defensive player, and they don't pass him the ball like that. He gets his points off the board. Embiid is different. They literally come down court 3, 4, 5 possessions in a row, try to establish him in the post or on the perimeter. That's not what the NBA is about anymore.
If you are heavy on the perimeter, correct. But I think what happens is, Embiid may just be the victim of his own size and lack of athleticism when you compare him to somebody like Anthony Davis. But ideally, Embiid, if he were a little bit, and it's not his fault, but if he were more athletic and could play more of a 4, you would see teams having to force and adjust on him more. And maybe that's just, hey, Brett Brown and coaching staff using him more on the outside. See, this is where you and I disagree. I think you can win with a shooting 5. Somebody who's a stretch. We haven't seen, this is brand new territory in the NBA. You can't go back 5, 10 years and say, hey man, stretch 5s don't work. You don't have stretch.
No,
Bill Laimbeer was the last stretch 5.
My point is not that the way that they use Embiid, how many shots did he get tonight? 30?
No, not 30.
How many shots?
I'd say probably like
15 or 16.
He draws a lot of his points from the line.
Well, he needs to get down to 10. I'm trying to say, they spend way too much time trying to get him the ball. If you put a Joel Embiid on a team like Golden State, and this is an extreme because you're going with the best team in the league, he would play, 15, 20 minutes a game at the most.
Wait, hold up though. If you're taking that many shots away from him, who are you giving them to? If you're giving them all to Jimmy, then that's not a good dimensional.
No, I'm saying the team is built wrong. You have to have somebody else to give those shots to. You can't force the ball into the post. That's my point. No, I'm not saying that they have someone on the team now that you're going to give those shots to. You're giving him that many shots because you don't have anybody else.
That's right. You got 2 scorers.
The problem is you have to have another scorer. Joel, it's not him, because Joel Embiid is the best big man in the league, no doubt about it. However, it's not a big man league anymore. It's not his fault. It's just the league has changed.
But he's
it's
playing
a perimeter.
Big man.
I feel like this is like Golden State Warrior syndrome.
We weren't having
Look
this
at all the best
conversation
teams in the league.
Hold on.
Look at all the best teams in the league. Toronto, Boston, obviously Golden State. You could throw the Lakers out there too. Houston. None of those guys have big men. None of them.
We weren't having this conversation before Jimmy Butler got here, so it can't just be because Joel Embiid is taking too many shots. He gets most of his points from the line. The couple of games that he played and they weren't really well, he wasn't getting to the line. I think against Toronto, he only got to the line twice, something like that. So he needs to get more bully ball in the post, draw those fouls, and then he needs to hit his. Of course, right now he's a stretch 5. He has been a stretch 5 the entire season. It has not been a problem until recently. He has not made his shots. So before Jimmy Butler got here, he had a decent percentage for a big man from behind the arc.
And by the way,
the past couple games he has not.
He's been a stretch 5 since he got here. He's never played the classic low post center role. So I was surprised to hear him all of a sudden kind of articulate some kind of dissatisfaction with how he's used.
Only because he's not hitting.
At the same time that when he
wasn't
hitting
getting his shots in,
right.
he was 0 for 4. So he's getting his shots in. He's mad because he's not hitting. That's not Brett Brown's fault.
I think he's feeling the weight of being the best player or second, whatever you want, on the team, that all of a sudden he's not playing well. And I think the bottom line with the Sixers is that they don't have enough. I mean, when they bring these guys off the bench that they're bringing in, whether it's TJ, Muscala, they're just not good enough compared to some other really good teams. If you put better players around Ben, Jimmy, and Joel, you could beat anybody except for maybe the Warriors, who I don't know if there is a blueprint for beating the Warriors.
Yeah, but Look at the difference.
So I don't know if it's construction. I think it's talent more than
They wouldn't be able to beat Toronto. That they got beat up by the other.
You're telling me you didn't put two better players on the.
If you put two better players on any team, they'll beat.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Is that you
got
it. They're trying to get one.
You can say that about.
Here's the difference, though. What Brian is saying is, you need to slow Joel Embiid down. Like you need to almost, a governor in a car that.
Like a regulator, right?
Exactly, right? You need to almost put a governor on Embiid, is what you're saying. Like he can go flying down that, but you can't win that way. So you kind of have to reel him back a little bit.
Minutes restrictions again?
I'm saying from productivity going to him. Brian's saying he's dropping 30 a night. You got to win with him going 18 a night. That's somebody who is going full speed.
And they need to get that other player in here quickly.
Yes, but my point to you is the difference is you're saying about building the right people around him. That's not with Embiid. So Embiid can play with anybody on the planet.
Right.
Ben Simmons cannot.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the biggest difference.
And that's my point. Is they need another shooter.
But you're talking about. I think specifically you're talking about. Hey, when you need to add more people and properly construct this team, it's not for Embiid. It's for Simmons. Embiid can play with anybody.
There has not been one game this entire season since we got Butler that Jimmy, Ben, and Embiid have all eaten together at the same table. Has not happened yet. Hopefully it'll happen soon. But what I think this is going to be a story of the past because I think after, he rested last time against the Pistons, I think that's all he needed. He just needed a little bit of motivation. His dad is back in the country. He's going to start balling again. He got his rest. If he just draws fouls, that's where he gets a lot of his points from drawing fouls.
Right.
He did not do that against Toronto. Maybe something got in his head. If he draws his fouls, if he hits maybe 40% from behind the arc instead of going 0 for 4, if he hits 1 or 2 of those, it's not even going to be a thought in his head as I don't want to be used as a stretch 5 anymore.
See the difference, and this is my whole thought process on it. You just mentioned something, draw the foul. That's good. That also slows the game down. It changes the course of the game. Look at the teams on the West Coast. They're up and down the floor. That's how you win. That's how Golden State has won the last 5 years. The teams that have won the last 5 years, up and down the floor, they're not drawing you down to the post.
You absolutely have to slow the game down when you're playing a team like Toronto who is so athletic. Because just like Ben Simmons, if you clog the lanes, then he cannot get in there. He cannot get in the post. But also, if you're good in
playoffs.
Wait, but time out. If you're good in transition too, that's another way to stop Ben Simmons because Ben Simmons is great when the defense is not set. So drawing the fouls against really fast teams like that is something that Joel Embiid has to do because we want to slow the game down against super athletic teams like Toronto.
See, the problem with the thought process is when the other team is hitting threes and you're drawing them down, hitting twos, when we saw it last year in Boston, it's the same exact thing. You can't win that way. Consistently over time, when you have players hitting threes, that demoralizes the team. The thought process changes up every time, up and down the floor. We keep getting twos, Oh, they keep getting threes. It changes your thought process. They can't, They can win against some decent teams, average teams. The good teams in the league are not built that way. They're up and down the floor. And the reason why Joel is tired on Friday, why Brett Brown said we want to give you a rest, is because they've played teams that get up and down the floor. Toronto, up and down the floor. The team isn't built to win. And Joel, again, he's a great player. I never can take anything away from him. But the game has changed. The game has gone away from what he does naturally really, really well, the best in the league. The game is different now.
That's to his point. They're not a good – they could theoretically –
They're constructed wrong.
If they wanted to – well, yeah,
not
I guess.
Because of Embiid.
If they could – not because of Joel.
He's not the problem. But
they could be a half-court team with Joel, but Ben does not allow this team right now to be a good half-court team.
And that's going
to be. And I think it's really cool, by the way, that we can finally admit for a lot of people that Ben is holding back a little bit.
Here we go. We still got to get into anything, and I'm curious to know if the three of y'all have ever done, not to the extent, of course, of like Kyler Murray or Kevin Hart, but if there's ever been a tweet that you've gone back and been like, maybe I shouldn't have sent that one out.
All 55,000 of them.
Exactly right? All right, let me go. Who frequently leaves their number for the wait staff at restaurants?
Ooh. Who frequently leaves their number?
Not for maybe.
Oh, like their telephone number.
Yeah. So for Brian and Geoff, it's pre-marriage.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We'll look.
But it also means you have to have a cute waitress. And
that happens.
Okay.
All right. So if you have a cute or handsome
once
waiter,
in my life.
waitress.
So I don't know if that's frequently or not.
You've done it once. I'm surprised.
once.
Here's the thing. I'm surprised he's actually done
That's
it.
surprised, yeah.
Right?
It just seems like that's your
You
style.
know, I usually hear the opposite way around, where it's like the waitress leaves a number on like the receipt.
Yes.
That's what I usually hear.
Well,
Yes.
that's what I asked.
Has that
for the
happened
number.
to you before or
I
no?
thought that's what you were
Yeah,
saying.
that's happened.
So guys have given you their number.
I mean,
The
guys
waiter?
will find any way to give you their
But
number.
do
They'll
you,
give you on a
do you
napkin
call
if
is the
it's-
question?
No,
That's
I
the
don't-
question.
No.
No.
Why? Because he's a waiter?
No, because
I'm
it's
not
probably
interested.
yeah.
All the waiters
That's
have given you their number. You're not interested in any of them.
The only excuse that I have to not call anyone, waiter, I don't care what your profession is I'm just not interested.
Well, how do you know you're not interested? You've only seen him.
'Cause he's
you don't
a waiter.
know him.
Well, you talk with your waitress, and me,
Seriously.
I'm
Why
like,
is this a shock to you?
first of all,
talk to waiters.
I'm very like I talk to everybody.
Yeah.
I talk to everybody. That don't mean I'm interested. Just because I'm nice and I talk to, I'll talk to anybody, but that don't mean I'm interested.
No, and you're right too. Where a guy, any opening a guy would take, it could be the smallest little crap. Oh, she's down.
Right,
She's in.
right.
Let me just slide you a number.
Forget me
Whereas-
just being a nice person and
Yeah.
I talk to anyone. I don't
Thanks
care
for,
what your status is, if you're famous, if you're poor. I don't care. I'll talk to you.
Right.
I think I can learn something from everyone. That doesn't mean I'm interested though.
Right.
Thanks for reminding me of my entire high school career. There.
Wait a second. What happened where you got this number at a? Was it a Denny's? Like where were you at?
She
No,
gave you
it was an
her
Applebee's.
number, or you gave her yours,
She gave me hers. I asked for it though.
and you called though. You called.
She was the waitress.
It was with like 15, 20 people.
Okay.
I actually didn't really have anything. Like she was cute, but I was not. But all the friends were like, "Hey Jeff, you should." I was like, "Okay, whatever." So she gave us the bill, and I said, "Here's our money. When you bring back the receipt, just leave your number on it." So she came
A
back.
little sly fox.
Now you had been talking.
Wait, hold up. She came back. The number wasn't on it. So we're all leaving, and I'm like, now
give me my.
now I'm feeling like, okay, I probably expected that. That's probably like most of my life. So I get up and we start walking out, and I look back at where the waitresses are, and I looked at her, and I was like, am I that bad? And she goes, I thought you were kidding. I was like, no, I wasn't kidding. So she ran up and gave me her number.
So
and we
you
went out a
got
couple
it.
of
So what
times.
happened?
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like my sleeper pick, I feel like I would want to say Eytan for some reason, but I feel like my sleeper pick would be Brian.
Yeah,
I give it to
absolutely.
Then I
Brian.
would leave in my
Yeah,
number.
absolutely.
I would not.
You probably had a card and everything back
Right,
then.
just
I
like-
would do that. Hey,
like
man,
the-
you know, if you're ever in town,
Yeah, come on now.
I would. That's the professional way to do it.
You have
Right.
to understand it's
Right,
about
I feel
Eytan,
like
though.
you're my sleeper pick, so I'm picking you.
You have to understand about
would do
Eytan.
that.
Right.
I would do
Eytan
that.
doesn't give his number or information to women.
don't
that
give
he,
your
wait,
number?
He doesn't give his number to women that he sees in person.
Oh.
It's all internet driven.
Oh, yo, so you're a DM slider.
No.
Yeah.
First
You're a
off,
DM
See
slider.
you
No,
at the
no.
beach.
First
How
of all,
many-
I don't.
No,
here's
he's
the thing.
not. He just.
Jeff will tell you, I don't slide in anybody's DMs because that'll go public immediately.
Quickly, yeah.
So I'm smart, definitely smart with mine. So before I was in a relationship, I was online and just Tinder.
I was online.
Tinder.
Oh, you're internet.
He's talking about Tinder. That's all.
Now
I
he's
wasn't on like
completely wiped off
Match.com
the
or anything
face
like
of the
that. I
earth.
wasn't looking for love.
Christian Mingle.
No. I did slide in there one
Farmers
time.
only.
And they're like,
Farmers only.
they're looking at me like Eytan. That don't really
Yeah,
fit
yeah.
in this faith here.
That's actually a really good strategy, though, just to get the contrarians.
But how successful is that online dating? I've never tried it.
How do you define success?
Well,
Yeah, that
depends,
is a good
depends
question.
on. Depends on.
Are you
Look at
looking for
that smile.
love?
Look at that smile.
It depends on what you're looking for.
Well,
right?
Tinder is a
Okay.
very specific, like you're not looking for anything serious.
Not
I think
necessarily.
that's what the motto kind of is.
Look at it
Mine.
like it's a medium. Look at it like it's a big room. It's a giant warehouse. Tinder is the warehouse that has small rooms
Sam's
in it.
Club for
I'm
dating.
painting a picture. I'm painting a picture.
Production
It's
folks
like
are
the
laughing back
library,
here at
right?
this
No,
picture.
listen. And you got small rooms in this big warehouse. So Tinder is the warehouse, and in the room are the areas. So if you're looking for some Sado S&M crap, some strange ass shit, then you know what? You can find that in some small room.
So that's like
If
the
you're
produce section.
Right, exactly. If you're looking for marriage, that's where you get the vitamins. If you're looking for an overnight, just a quick hit, or you're looking for friends with benefits, you got rooms in different areas. If you're
Tinder,
looking,
you could do all of this.
yeah,
on Tinder.
I got people that hit me up for marketing, like, yo, I'm shooting this new thing. I got people, back when I was on there a lot, singing.
Last night.
No.
So you got-
I'm in a happy relationship.
Oh, okay.
You got the big Sam's Club cart, and you're literally in every room,
You're
right?
shopping in all the
Not every room, because you can peek down an aisle and be like, nah, I don't really want it. I don't need anything down there.
See,
like,
but
I'm good on
wait,
paper
but that's
towels.
something you just
Automotive aisle.
came at me about. You're just like, oh, you're not going to give him his number because he's a waiter. Oh, you're not going to get, you're peeking. You're not going to give her your time of day because of one picture on Tinder.
Absolutely. I don't, listen, I
I
don't.
just want to make it
Wait,
clear.
no. I am totally open with how superficial and surface I am in my life. Absolutely.
wanted to make it
There is
clear.
no hypocrisy
Wanted
there.
to make it clear.
I'm a
Okay.
hypocrite, but not there.
You've internet dated? No.
Never.
Never. I haven't.
I've never. Everyone wants to give me the side eye. If you know me, you know I do not. I need it to be organic. I need a cute story for how we met, not like he slid in my DMs and I accepted it from my
So
other
if
inbox.
the perfect
First of all,
person
if
slides
I-
in your DM, you're out on that.
If who?
The perfect person, whatever that guy is.
Yeah, no.
If I was going
how
to
do I know
internet date,
How do I know you're a perfect
You
fit
have
for
to get
me?
the no. How do you know any guy is
So
perfect
I'm supposed
for
to
you?
just give everyone in my DMs a chance. No.
I
Sorry.
don't know how dating works anymore.
I'm
that's what I'm
I
saying.
don't, I
I'm
don't
too
date
old. Like, if I was
online.
going to look
Yeah.
for a cute story on an internet date, I would have to get through the
All
guy
right, so let me
running.
tell you about my parents.
I got
first.
some bad ones, all right? You cannot shoot, like, you can't go up there and bat 600 at the plate, right? Because catfishing, people lie, I met somebody
Right.
who...
So you just go based on their profile.
No. There's a
picture.
method to
Or
it,
you
right?
dig deeper.
You look at
Right.
the picture and you say, if you like it, you
Swipe,
swipe one
right.
way. If you don't like it, you swipe the other way.
But then there's obviously the intent of meeting somebody and making something happen. So you can't go out there and just say, yeah, put yourself out, like, come on over. You
Right.
know? Listen, I've avoided a robbery. I've avoided...
And that didn't
Stash
stop
Dash?
you using the site.
Hell
and
no.
you guys are mad that I don't
You should have
date
seen her,
online.
bro. She was worth
Right
it.
Have
before
you
she
ever
took
got-
my wallet.
Badass
Have you ever
DJ up in Newark, man.
Have you ever
Hey.
got catfished?
Huh?
Have you ever been
Hell
catfished?
yeah. But you know what? I learned my lesson. First person I ever met on Tinder, right? Now, we're going back and forth, and Jeff will tell you, like, I'm normally a paranoid person by
Manti
nature,
Teo,
right?
first person.
And I knew all about that. I was on the air doing the show when the whole Manti thing dropped, so I was knew all about all this. So I'm not just meeting somebody off of text. I'm having conversation. It went from Tinder to text to sending pics to FaceTime. I'm FaceTiming live, like
get
back and
semaphore
forth
in there?
with this girl. What?
Did you get any semaphore in there with the flags?
What's that?
Never mind.
I don't know.
Proceed.
You don't know what semaphore
is
is?
this my Big L moment? Is this my Big L moment right here?
You
Should
don't
I
know what
know
that
this?
means? I
No.
don't know what that word
I'm
is.
just too old for this show.
So, we're going back and forth, and I'm clearly talking to a live human being. I'm talking to somebody who is on the other end having a conversation and reacting to what I'm saying. This is not a
You only know
pre-recorded.
until you FaceTime.
Right, and listen, as superficial as I get, I admit, I'm having a conversation. She's showing me body pics, all this. Boom, weekend is set. I drive down to Maryland. She's 300 pounds. Wow. So that's the difference of
You
the...
FaceTimed her?
Yes, but...
She works the angles.
No, it was a
Gotta
different
know the
person.
angles.
No. Listen.
You guys are not getting this whole internet thing.
It was a whole different person.
Yes.
So she had her friend do it.
Yes, or her sister, or her cousin, or a girl, or
So
whatever.
what did you do?
I showed up to this spot in Elkton, Maryland. It was pitch black, dark out. All I had was this floodlight.
was.
I had this floodlight in my
You
eye.
went to her house?
Yeah, bro, if you saw the video, you would have been at the house too.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
So I'm at the house.
You would have been on the bullet train.
It's pouring rain. I'm in Elkton, Maryland. I can barely see. His windshield wipers are going. The fog lights in my eye. I can barely see who's coming out. Some figure is coming out of the house. I open up the door, and the back door opens. This big-ass bag. That should have been a sign right there. A bag the size of my body was thrown in the back seat. Next thing you know, she gets in there too, and I look. I'm like, that's not you.
Now let me ask you a question. Let me
Out
ask
the
you
car
a
looking
question.
like Freddie Jackson.
Now, this is just the journalist in me, right? So you know, guys are attracted to what they see. They say women are attracted to what they hear. I'm a little bit of both. However, you were attracted to what you saw, but within you seeing pictures and the conversations, you guys actually had conversations. Right? So at any point when you saw this person who looked completely different, did you at all say, but that's a dope person?
I was thinking that as I was pulling out of the driveway, trying to get out of this.
She got in the car with
Yeah,
you?
she was in the car.
And what did you say?
Well, here's the thing.
You're not Tanya, you're somebody else. What did you say?
No,
The story
Oh,
gets
you
way
were
better.
nice about
there
it.
were, well, here's the thing. when I first got on there, right, this is how I look. So I need all the help I can get. So my bio, radio, I'm putting it all out there.
Yeah,
I did a hit on Fox, I'm on Fox. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm putting it all out there.
Yeah.
So I'm so concerned right now because that was a lot of the part of the conversation.
Right.
Ooh, I'm gonna watch you and listen to the show.
Right.
That
you're a public figure.
She's gonna call the boss.
Yeah.
Not all I need on Twitter. You know how social works. So that's going through my mind. How do I get out of this and not get blown up on social media? So I'm pulling out of the car. And I'm thinking to myself, to your point, Krystle, maybe there's a conversation, maybe we can get through this. I can detour, not go to my house, get a drink, and you'll come back. She immediately starts talking about how she had to knock a couple dudes out in a fight last night and how she's gripping this Jim Beam bottle, necking it.
Doesn't that kind of take the pressure off of you as a man to protect? No, I'm kidding.
No.
I
I texted my mom and I said SOS, and she got me out of it on a call saying I needed to be
See, you're really nice because I'm a nice person, but don't play with me.
That sounds like stand-up
you know what I
gentleman
mean?
right there.
I'm a nice person, but don't
We
play
gotta
with me.
hear way more.
As soon as I know I was catfished, I'm reversing. You're not getting in my car. I don't know who you are.
We got to know more about this story next time.
I'll tell some more. I'll tell some more too. All right. We got a lot
Sure
in
about
there.
that?
I want to hear a lot more about that.
Man, I told you one where I nearly avoided losing my kidneys. Like I got a couple for you. Well, I might sprinkle them in there. All right. So now you see. All right. For the record, Philadelphia. This is what we do. We get into sports, lifestyle, culture, music, everything and anything that we can. Sometimes the show might even get derailed with a person. See, I set the tone. Now people are going to be expecting.
And your dating life.
No. That's not going to be a weekly thing.
Yeah, it should be.
We're going to get deeper into your personal lives next time, all right? I'm going to come, forget these cards. I'm going to come with like 20 questions about what you were like in college, and we'll get through all that. That's Brian Westbrook. That's Krystle Rich, Geoff Mosher, Eytan Shander. It's For the Record, Philadelphia.